Mary had a little man.
We believe that all men are created equal.
To the magnificent mosaic that is America.
From radio beacon to radio beacon.
I have a dream today.
Change has come to America.
Believe it.
Help is on the way.
Knock, knock. Who's there?
It's a figment of your imagination.
Randy Rhoads Show.
Turn up your mind.
Too many lives have been upended because of our failed approach to marijuana.
From President Biden, mass pardons and a clear message. No one should be behind bars for using marijuana.
Criminal records for marijuana possession have led to needless barriers to employment, to housing, and educational opportunities.
And with that, the president moved to clear some 6,500 federal convictions for pot possession, plus thousands more in the District of Columbia, though it won't affect the millions more with state-level convictions.
Oh.
And the administration does say there are no individuals currently in federal prison solely for simple possession of marijuana.
Oh.
He also ordered an expedited review of how marijuana is classified. It's currently listed among the most dangerous so-called Schedule 1 drugs, along with LSD and heroin. It comes around a month before the midterm elections, where it's become an issue in some races. In the tight Pennsylvania Senate campaign, Democratic candidate John Fetterman says he spoke with Biden last month about decriminalizing marijuana. It could come with some political risk. During this election season, Republicans have been attacking the president and other Democrats on crime. 5 states will be voting on whether to legalize marijuana in November. 38 states in the District of Columbia already allow medical marijuana use, and it's fully legal in 19 states plus D.C. President Biden calling on the remaining states' governors to take action. We first met Steve D'Angelo in 2017. He served a federal sentence for marijuana possession in the 1970s, but his case is a rarity. Most marijuana arrests and convictions happen at the state level, and he says the states are where real reform has to happen, too.
I appreciate President Biden's call to the governors to also implement pardons because the largest number of prisoners in the United States are in state prisons.
President Biden's moves also won't affect the marijuana black market, a major concern for law enforcement and officials across the country. New challenges growing along with the trend toward decriminalizing marijuana nationwide.
An important note on marijuana convictions everybody should know. According to a study from the ACLU, while marijuana use is roughly equal between black and white people, a black person is more than 3 times as likely to be arrested for possession than a white person. It's something President Biden talked a lot about on the campaign trail.
I'm the black market. You're looking at it. This is me. And this does nothing for me. This does nothing for me. It's probably harvest day today for my marijuana plants, all 3 of them. I grow the pot. I don't really smoke the pot, but I do like to grow the pot. It's an exciting, wonderful hobby. It's, a very fun plant to grow. It's not very pretty. It's not, when it flowers, the flowers are very, very useful, but they're not gorgeous. It's not like an orchid. It's not like a rose. It's not like a violet. It's not like any bulb flower that is, spectacular or anything like that. They're kind of, ugly. But they're useful, much more useful than an orchid, much more useful than even amaryllis for Christmas, much more useful. And I am the problem. You understand that? I'm the problem. Why? Well, here in Florida, even though we do have dispensaries and marijuana is okay medicinally, which is an interesting notion, considering that because marijuana is a Schedule 1 drug, right up there with methamphetamine, right up there with the heroin, right up there with the LSD. Where is the LSD these days? Who's making it? What bathtub did it come from? Anybody know where I can get some orange sunshine? Feel like laughing for 12 hours is what it is. But okay, so because it's a Schedule 1 drug, you can't really do a lot of, medical testing on the marijuana. Not a whole hell of a lot. And what we do know about it is that it does seem to relieve nausea for people who are going through chemotherapy, for people who have debilitating diseases that, make them nauseous. Marijuana seems to be of benefit to them. We know of the odd story of seizures that have been, abated or prevented or lessened with the use of marijuana. but they're all, just random stories. And the reason why all of this is like random stories instead of, like double-blind studies with lots of participants that went on for years, or anything to do with coronavirus, right? The reason why is because it's a Schedule I drug, and we can't do a whole lot with a Schedule I drug in medical settings. And so the more important part of what Biden did yesterday, because, listen, he did pardon anybody with a simple possession, marijuana, ding on their personal record. I will tell you right now, there are 0 people in jail right now for simple possession at the federal level. 0. There are 0 people. But they did a count and they figured there were about 6,500 Americans who have a federal conviction for simple possession of marijuana on their records. And those 6,500 people have received pardons from President Joe Biden for that. And so their records will be clean. It will not affect their ability to work. It will not affect their background checks with ability to housing. It will not affect their background checks with, education, applying to a school or anything like that. So 6,500, yay. And then there are a few thousand people that live in the district, that live in D.C., who fall under federal law, right? Because it's not a state. But it's not going, listen, I will tell you, if you ask any kid today whether or not marijuana is legal, they'll say, yeah, they think it is. They'd be stoned, but they think it is. But it isn't. It isn't. So what I'm doing, growing my 3 little plants, I had 4 this year, but one was an autoflower. And that's faster, much faster to harvest. So that's been curing already for a month while I continue to grow my photo plants, the regular plants. And those seem to be, the trichomes seem to be nice and cloudy. I think I'm ready to harvest and dry and then cure. But I'm the problem, you understand. See, even me telling you this, I'm risking a raid at my stupid, in my back.
Yeah, you're doing what the kids call self-snitching right now, right?
Oh, is that it? It has a name?
Yeah.
I'm ratting myself.
That's exactly correct.
Wow. Who knew? Well, and I'm also having an abortion right now for anybody who cares. Okay, right now I'm doing it. Yeah. It's just so ridiculous that I honestly am in violation of the Florida law, because I'm not allowed to grow at all any number of plants at all in this state. Now, we do have dispensaries. Howard can go and spend, $400 and go to a dispensary and buy, flour. He could buy flour. He could buy oils. He could buy, tinctures. He could put it on his little crackers there and get wasted, okay? I don't even smoke it. I just like gardening. Okay, and so I try to grow things that would help him with his pain, because, as you know, he's a pain sufferer. He's got excruciating back pain almost all, all the time. So, and I try and grow things that are rumored to have a nice effect on anxiety, that are rumored to be good for sleeping, so that, some of my friends and family members who suffer from various of these maladies, whether it's pain or anxiety or sleeplessness, can get some relief. But if there was a legalization, a serious legalization, it's a start to get marijuana off of Schedule I and deschedule it. But do you have any idea what that's going to take? No, and it's not legislation. No. So this has to go through Health and Human Services, and then Health and Human Services has to partner with the Attorney General of the United States, and then they have to come to a conclusion that descheduling marijuana is a good thing rather than a bad thing, which, by the way, would stop any marijuana, cartels, but it would also, in Florida, I'm guessing that the reason why my 3 plants are so freaking illegal and threatening is because all the legislation here with a Republican governor will go to big agriculture.
All things Randy at RandyRhodes.com.
Go for launch.
Speaking truth to power, The Randy Rhodes Show.
I don't know why we're hung up on marijuana in this country. Whites and African Americans use it roughly at the same rates, yet African Americans are 4 times more likely to be arrested and charged for its use. Let's make marijuana legal. Let's take it out of the shadows and take away an important piece of the systemic racism that exists in our nation's drug policy. I'm John Fetterman, and I approve this message because something needs to change.
So that was 2016, believe it or not. That was John Fetterman in 2016. And, obviously it's not been decriminalized. It's not been legalized. And so, we're still stuck here. And the idea that, dealing creates a criminal environment is something that, if you're a Republican, you should be very concerned with. You should be very upset that, drug dealing creates a lot of crime and criminal activity. Of course, for saying that he wants to legalize, not decriminalize, but legalize. Decriminalize simply means they won't prosecute anymore people who are found to have, just simply possessed marijuana, small amounts of marijuana for personal use. But legalization means I can grow my 3 plants without, worrying that, DeSantis is going to have a helicopter hovering over my house and, perp walk me for Now, I suspect that a lot of it has to do with business, big business. Because, who's a bigger criminal than, people who make billions of dollars and pay 0 taxes, you know what I mean? And then pay to have legislatures that are amenable to that plan, that are amenable to letting them make billions of dollars and paying no taxes. You know what I'm saying? So anyway, I just have this sick feeling that if you live in a state where you have a Republican governor and maybe it's medicinally okay, there's dispensaries where you are or whatever it is. I mean, I will tell you, I looked up to see like how many states it's still completely illegal. And you would think that these are the states that scream freedom the loudest. You would think that these states would not be the case where marijuana is completely illegal, completely. But Wyoming, it's completely illegal. Idaho, completely illegal. I find that very strange. You're the people that are always screaming about freedom. Freedom this, freedom that. But no abortion, no marijuana, ban books. I mean, how do you hold all these thoughts in your head simultaneously? I have no idea. But yeah, and cigarettes, by the way, I got to tell you, cigarettes are like pretty much the death penalty now if you get caught smoking a cigarette. Now, I quit. So I don't even have a horse in that race anymore because I don't smoke anymore. But honestly, I mean, smoking a cigarette, the looks you would get like you were, shooting heroin or something like that. And I get that, cigarettes, you flip your butt, you make a mess. It's a dirty little habit, and with marijuana, I will say I don't see anybody disposing of their roaches. I don't see them throwing them on the sidewalk. I see them saving them and scraping off the resin. Why? Because it's so expensive. So I have this crazy feeling that the reason why banking isn't amenable to taking marijuana dollars, I think that it's probably a problem for big business because they haven't figured out how to own the whole business, just like owning the whole tobacco cartel. And when they do, people like me who grow 3 plants, I'm actually serving the Ron DeSantis purpose of, creating legislation that would benefit big agriculture and allow them to grow, but not allow me. Now, dispensaries are getting marijuana from somebody, not me. I'm not allowed. It's just it's a very bizarre kind of rolling decriminalization, but not really legalization. It's partial. Everything that we do is partial. We're always inching toward freedom. We're always inching toward, and then if we get too free, then we must ban books. If we get too free, then we must intrude in some of the most private decisions that a woman will ever have to make with her family or with her boyfriend or with her husband or with her doctor or with her reverend or with you know what I mean? Can't be too free. Can't have too much freedom in this country. You won't know what to do with it. better to have government intruding into your uterus, better to have government intruding into your, whatever drug is your drug. Now, addiction, on the other hand, is horrible, okay? Addiction to hard drugs is obviously a big problem in this here nation. You know why? You know why? It's stigmatized, number one. Number two, there's not a whole lot of treatment that's affordable or available. I was looking at Oregon. Oregon decriminalized just about everything. Everything. Hard drugs, soft drugs, you name. And the people who would like to get help can't. There's just not enough staffing. There's not enough, places to go. There's not enough funding. There's not, and so you don't see progress being made in the addiction arena, right? Because we always do everything so half-assed in this country. It's like, okay, we're going to decriminalize hard drugs, and we're going to say that we're going to dedicate hundreds of millions of dollars to treatment. Except they just do the first part. They decriminalize hard drugs, but they don't send the money. They don't. So over half of addiction treatment programs in the state of Oregon lack capacity to meet the demands because they don't have enough staffing. They don't have enough funding. So this is the endless loop that they have us on because the government is intruding into very personal problems like addiction. I mean, and I was listening to the freaking right wing comment on what Biden did. And what Biden did is very small, very small. It's like I said, 6,500 people will have their simple possession, convictions wiped out of their record. Okay, and obviously he did it ahead of the election so that young people, would, support Democrats, so that young people could either know that the job isn't finished, or young people would say, what do you mean it's not legal? Oh, we have to make it legal. Whatever, to get the people who supported Biden, who helped Biden become Biden, to give him a Congress that he can work with. But they're already saying no.
What is your stance on that, by the way, marijuana?
There are not enough Pennsylvanians to work in Pennsylvania. So giving them pot so they stay home is not, I don't think, an ideal move. I also don't want to breed addiction to marijuana. It's not physical addiction, it's emotional addiction. But I don't want young people to think they have to smoke a joint to get out of their house in the morning. We need to get Pennsylvanians back at work. You got to give them their mojo. And I don't want marijuana to be a hindrance to that. I also don't want people operating heavy machinery and driving by me when they've been taking their fourth joint of the day.
What? Okay, so he thinks that he can say out loud that we're mandating marijuana and people will believe him. He thinks that we're saying there's no, that children should be able to smoke 4 joints a day and then go to school. He thinks that we're saying that driving under the influence or operating, heavy machinery under the influence would, somehow be okay. I mean, obviously, he is a quack doctor who refuses to, and he used to always, I have so many old tapes of him saying that the possibilities for marijuana are endless in medical settings, and now all of a sudden it's, no, we need our mojo.
Call in, connect. To speak to Randy, call 561-270-3844. 561-270-3844.
I think this will be very impactful for Joe Biden and Democrats in terms of winning over a large portion of the voter electorate that thinks this is an important issue. There are a lot of Democrats, and 3/4 of Americans think that we should legalize marijuana. So that is something, certainly a factor in him making this decision. I see this as a ploy to, in midterms, to gain support and gain voters. I happen to think that marijuana is a gateway drug. I'm not a big advocate for legalizing marijuana. Maybe for medicinal purposes, but not as a whole. Why are you looking at me? No, I'm saying as a whole. But here's the thing. Part of his announcement was to also advocate to governors do the same at the state level. That's not happening. I reached out to Governor Asa Hutchinson's office in Arkansas. They don't like this. He sees this as waving the red flag of surrender to protecting the lives of those who are victims of drug abuse.
That makes no sense. So she actually says, that's Alice Stewart. She is a conservative spin doctor who is on the CNN all the time to defend the indefensible. She does a good job of it, okay? But there she is actually stumbling into the stats. 75% of America. I mean, when you look at the numbers of who wants to legalize marijuana, it's not just Democrats. It's not just bipartisan, meaning Republicans too. It's tripartisan. Independents, Republicans, Democrats, every single thinking American wants to see legalization of marijuana. And she knows that. She knows that. She also knows that this is going to make young people sit up and go vote. This is going to make people who believe in the end of the criminal activity around marijuana, they're going to show up and vote for people who will actually do something about the legalization, not just the decriminalization, but the legalization of marijuana. 87% of the GOP. 87% of the GOP, you heard me right there, favor full legalization. The Democrats, same thing. The independents, same thing. There is no one in this country that thinks that marijuana is a gateway drug. You know what? Boone's Farm is a gateway drug. Yeah, beer is a gateway drug. I think everybody, whoever was a child, whoever was a teen, whoever, ever swigged a Boone's Farm, Strawberry Hill or a Boone's Farm apple, knows that it was a gateway drug to Southern Comfort. Okay? They all know that, everything is a gateway to the, sugary cereals is a gateway drug to obesity. We all understand that everything has an entry level, a possibility to go do harder, bigger, badder sugars. Okay? Everybody gets it. Everybody understands. We're adults. Why does the Republican Party treat us like children? Why do they disrespect us in this manner? Why do they talk to us as if we don't understand what marijuana is, what role it might or might not play in your life? I mean, I look at these states, like I said, Idaho, it's completely illegal in Idaho. Marijuana is completely illegal. So, you know what? Legalize it. You know what? Because then you would say, I'm going to go overthrow the government. I'm going to join a militia and overthrow the government. Yeah, tomorrow, but right now I'm going to eat. You know what I'm saying? Legalize it. Wyoming, same thing. It makes no sense. It makes no sense. It's nonsense is what it is. But, listen, if you're worried about gateways to hard drugs, okay, then why not have addiction? Like we have, states. I don't know about your state. I can only tell you about mine because I see it on the TV. They have the tobacco-free programs, right? Where you could call this number toll free and you could get a free kit that will help you understand how to get off of cigarettes. Sometimes they'll even, send you for free the nicotine patches. Sometimes they'll send you for free the nicotine gums, whatever. But they're there. These are treatment centers. It's literal treatment for nicotine addiction. And the state is responsible for, sending you free tools to help you kick nicotine addiction, to help you quit smoking cigarettes, right? So why don't they do that for drugs? Why don't they do that for other drugs? Let's put it that way. Nicotine is obviously a drug. Why don't they do it for other drugs? Why isn't there free treatment for heroin addiction? Why isn't there free treatment when you are, recovering from surgery and you've been prescribed a whole lot of painkillers and now you're feeling better, but you find yourself addicted to the whole lot of painkillers? Why isn't there like treatment for you in that scenario? Why isn't there treatment for somebody who's addicted to methamphetamine? Why isn't it free? Why isn't it free? I'll tell you why. If we had national health care, it might actually, because what we have here are state-run insurance companies, Florida Blue Cross Blue Shield, things like that. They have an interest in keeping you nicotine-free. They have an interest in keeping you tobacco-free because it costs less to, watch you age when, you don't have to, treat somebody for lung cancer, or you don't have to treat somebody for, pancreatic cancer or any of the other cancers, right? So why won't we do this for other drugs. Why? Well, I have a feeling it's because there's a rehabilitation industry that lobbies to keep it, for profit, that lobbies to make it expensive, that lobbies for cash payments because health insurance doesn't cover, for the most part, mental health. Health insurance doesn't cover your recovery from drugs. It doesn't. But the state will help you get off tobacco. Just asking. Why do you think that is? Just asking. Karen in Louisiana.
Hey, Randy. You just said a little while ago that you think the biggest obstacle to cultivation of marijuana for a certain, for your own personal use is big agri. And I'm suggesting to you that the biggest obstacle for cultivating private use, or cultivation for use, big pharma.
Yeah, them too.
That's the one.
All the money.
I mean, that's the biggest one.
It's the big money that doesn't want to see people, be able to do anything on their own. It's right. And so, listen, I would say to you about big pharma, I don't even know, and I don't think a lot of people know what the actual medicinal benefits for different kinds of marijuana might be, because we don't really study it, and so everybody's sort of telling wives' tales to each other about, oh, this strain will help you with anxiety, and it's all from personal experience, which is helpful, but it's not double-blind studies, you know what I mean? And right. And so we would benefit from knowing which plants do what for whom, and who should be taking, this, and who should be taking that, and which one makes you hungry, and which one stops, tremors, and which one stops seizures, and which one actually helps with anxiety, and which one really does make you sleepy, and which one really does give you some energy. That would be helpful. And that's why I don't think that the jury is in. I don't think the verdict has been delivered on that subject.
This is the Randy Rhodes Show. To speak with Randy, dial 561-270-3844. That's 561-270-3844.
This is Gary Chambers. He is running against Senator John Kennedy, that foghorn leghorn dude that says, hey, if you don't like cops, why don't you call a crackhead next time you get in trouble, which is like unbelievably racist and disgusting. But Gary Chambers is challenging Senator John Kennedy for that Senate seat in Louisiana. His ad, I played you his first ad. The first ad that Gary Chambers ever made was him smoking a giant blunt. I mean, big. And he gave the statistic about black men getting arrested for simple possession of marijuana over white people. And now all of a sudden, his statistic has been mainstreamed and got all the way to the President of the United States. And it was not lost on Senate candidate Gary Chambers.
Now, back in January, I smoked a blunt in an ad. You remember this? Every 37 seconds, someone is arrested for possession of marijuana. Since 2010, state and local police have arrested an estimated 7.3 million Americans for violating marijuana laws. Now, today, Joe Biden, President Biden, the most powerful man in the world, said this.
No one should be in jail just for using or possessing marijuana. It's already legal in many states. And criminal records for marijuana possession have led to needless barriers to employment, to housing, to educational opportunities.
Now, here's the real. Whether you thought it was controversial, political suicide, whatever you thought it was, I thought it was leadership to take a stand for people who are incarcerated for cannabis. While people are making billions of dollars in profit in this country, it's unjust. And when the most powerful man in the world joins your argument with you, black people are 4 times more likely to be arrested for marijuana laws than white people.
While white and black and brown people use marijuana at similar rates, black and brown people are arrested, prosecuted, and convicted at disproportionately higher rates.
It means you're headed in the right direction. I appreciate what the president did today, and for all the smokers everywhere, y'all know what to do. I'm Gary Chambers, and I'm running for the U.S. Senate, and I approve this message.
See, at work, Gary. Gary Chambers, why Louisiana? Why? would you vote for a cartoon character who everybody is going to vote for, okay, because it's Louisiana? Why don't you do something different? And then maybe expect a different result for Louisiana. Expect something better for Louisiana. Expect something, maybe profitable to happen in Louisiana for Louisianans. I mean, you could continue to vote for cartoon characters like old Foghorn Leghorn there, who says, if you don't like cops, next time you're in trouble, call a crackhead. As if he solved some problem. Right? He just, this is who Senator John Kennedy is. He puts on 80 pounds of pancake makeup, stares down a camera and tells some stupid, a barroom joke. Everybody goes, ha, that's funny. And then they vote for him. And nothing changes. Nothing actually happens for Louisiana. Nothing good, nothing meaningful, nothing progressy, nothing, no factories, no nothing. I mean, just so... I know Gary Chambers is polling in the teens. I get that, okay? But everyone in Louisiana is going to show up and vote for the cartoon character, for the Foghorn Leghorn dude, for the guy with the pancake makeup on his face, who actually continually takes your vote for granted. Why not do something just a little different? Just a little different. Especially if you're a Republican. Because don't worry. All your neighbors and all your friends, they'll never know what you voted for, but they're all going to vote for idiot Kennedy again. Just a suggestion. Because he was right. I mean, for me, I would vote for whoever got it right. John in California.
Hi, Randy.
Hi.
Hey, I've been in recovery for a long time, and the only thing that's ever worked for me not to pick up a first drink forever has been using marijuana. And I was in 12-step program for a long time, for more than a decade, and you just can't do that. Regardless of what they say in the program, marijuana is not allowed. It's cheating.
Yeah.
But they also use that as a crutch when you go into when you get arrested for DUI or something like I was. You would sign a probation agreement, and if you get tested and you test positive for marijuana, you go to the clink. And I saw a woman, she was being transitioned from male to female, and me and her were the only two people in the courtroom. And she went before me, and the judge gave her a year in jail for testing positive for marijuana.
Oh, my God.
And you never heard someone wail so loud and so long. It was creepy. It's still with me. But I also brought in a saying into the rehab circle, and that was, mother's milk is a gateway drug.
Yeah, it's all a gateway drug. I mean, really, and if you get too much mother's milk, you end up like Tucker Carlson. And if you don't get enough, you end up like those misogynists on those right-wing channels, screaming about how they hate women. Yeah, I know.
You end up in the gutter.
Yeah.
From mother's milk abuse.
Thank you, John. Thanks for sharing your story. Larry in California.
Hey, Randy. How you doing?
All right.
Good. Well, back in 1970, I got busted for cultivation. I had 5 plants. My phone was being tapped. 5 plants. My phone was being tapped, and there was like 2 cops for every door and window in my place, as if it was a huge bust. It was unbelievable. Thank God my sister's girlfriend was going with the prosecutor, so I only got 3 weekends in jail. Then I had the case reopened by a friend that was a public defender. The case was dismissed, and I was found not guilty. So that's that part of the story. But in the meantime, marijuana was originally, outlawed in 1937. It was because of 2 people. One was William Randolph Hearst, who was buying a lot of timberland up in the Northwest so he could use that for paper for his newspapers and sell it to other newspapers. And the other one was the DuPont family, who was developing plastic from petroleum.
Yeah, nylon. And what they wanted, nylon stands for New York, London. It was a DuPont product. That nylon was created half in New York, half in London. And what it was they wanted the defense contract for the Navy to replace the hemp rope, which was the strongest rope known to man, and they wanted to replace all that hemp rope with nylon rope. And so they lobbied the government to make hemp growing illegal.
Right.
And that's
right.
and that's how we got to criminalizing a plant.
And ever since then, it's been used by the politicians as a
bludgeon. Yes, as a bludgeon. Like you're either with us or you're a drug addict. You're either with us or you're against us. It's one of those deals, right? And like I said, most young people in this country, if you told them that Biden decriminalized marijuana yesterday, they would go, "Well, isn't it legal? We thought it was legal."
Right. Well, wasn't the Declaration of Independence written on hemp?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, it was.
And it's lasted all these years. If it would have been written on paper, could you imagine what it would have been like?
Yeah, it would have been like, toilet tissue. Yeah, right. Well, thank you. Yeah, I don't know how many people actually know why marijuana became an illegal substance, but that is why. DuPont created nylon, okay, and they wanted the defense contracts. And what they wanted was to get rid of hemp rope and replace hemp rope in the Navy with their nylon, with their newfangled products. So they went after hemp, and they started, building a story about, May smoking a marijuana cigarette and jumping out the window. Reefer madness. And this whole crazy ideology around this plant grew and grew and grew. And people just accepted that you couldn't grow a weed. It's harder than a weed to grow. Those of you who grow it, you know what I'm talking about. I mean, it takes some TLC. It does. It takes some care. You have to understand what nutrients and what nutrient burn is, and how much sun. A lot of sun. How much water? Not that much. All right, David in North Miami.
Randy, Your Majesty.
Yes, my supplicant.
Thank you. Could I have an extra birthday pop for my dad?
Oh, sure. Happy birthday, Dad. Always knew you'd be the best.
Yep. The amazing Ronald. Yeah, I just want to remind your listeners that Rick Scott had a chance to make a database to prevent doctor shopping so that Rush Limbaugh wouldn't be double and triple dipping into hillbilly heroin.
Right.
Oh, and
which made him deaf.
Right.
Yeah.
And where's Marco Rubio? I think he's still teaching at Florida International University, where I used to be a TA, except I graded papers. Rubio doesn't.
I think Rubio is an absentee, senator because he's stoned. Personally, I think he's just lazy, and I think his laziness is a direct result of smoking the wrong strain. There are strains that would give him pep, energy, good vibes, help him solve problems, but he's not aware.
Mary had a little lamb.
We believe that all men are created
equal.
To the magnificent mosaic that is America.
From radio beacon to radio beacon.
I have a dream today.
Change has come to America.
Believe me. Help is on the way.
Knock, knock. Who's there?
It's a figment of your imagination.
Randy Rhoads Show. Turn up your mind.
The Washington Post is reporting that federal agents investigating Hunter Biden have gathered what they believe is sufficient evidence to charge the president's son with tax crimes, as well as making a false statement related to a gun purchase. Now, NBC News cannot confirm this reporting, and the Justice Department is declining to comment. NBC's Ken Delanian joins me now with the very latest. So, Ken, break this down. What's the big takeaway here right now? No charges yet. And, of course, that's part of the headline as well.
That's right, Kristen, because the decision will ultimately be made by prosecutors, and specifically the U.S. Attorney in Delaware, who's a Trump appointee and a holdover. And it's also important to point out context here, which is that agents investigating a case are often more aggressive about wanting to charge that case than prosecutors are. And it's ultimately prosecutors who make a decision. I should also tell you we have a statement from Hunter Biden's lawyer, Chris Clark, who says, in part, as is proper and legally required, we believe the prosecutors in this case are diligently and thoroughly weighing not just evidence provided by agents, but also all the other witnesses, including witnesses for the defense. So he's essentially saying this decision has not been made. We don't know any differently, but the Post is saying that the agents investigating this tax case decided months ago that charges were warranted. And just so people understand, this is an investigation that's been going on for years. Hunter Biden, the president's son, made a lot of money in various business ventures. You may remember that he was paid as much as $50,000 a month by a Ukrainian energy company called Burisma. Apparently, he did not pay his taxes, and we know that because it was disclosed last year that he repaid a significant bill to the IRS for back taxes. The question always in these cases is, when does it become criminal tax evasion? And again, what the Post is reporting, Kristen, is that federal agents believe they have a plausible case to charge him, Hunter Biden, with tax charges, but the final decision will ultimately be made by the U.S. Attorney in Delaware.
The U.S. Attorney in Delaware, his name is David C. Weiss, and he is a Trump-appointed U.S. Attorney. Now, we could have, the Biden administration could have replaced him. Merrick Garland's team at DOJ could have replaced him. They didn't. They left him in place. You know why? Because if Hunter Biden broke the law, as we've said 8,000 times, then Hunter Biden will be charged. And Hunter Biden will either go on trial, or Hunter Biden will launch a defense at trial, or he'll enter into a plea deal to lesser charges like everybody else. But this, I mean, I kept on telling people, everybody, what about Hunter? What about, I go, we have a very large Department of Justice. We have a very large justice system in this country. And I think we could do more than one thing at a time. 7.3 million people were charged with marijuana possession last year. 7.3 million people were charged with marijuana possession. And still, we were able to bring the Proud Boys and the Oath Keepers to trial. We got a Proud Boy that pled guilty. He's, up in the top ranks. He's going to testify against Enrique Tarrio over there. Okay, and then draw the line between Enrique Tarrio and Roger Stone and Donald Trump and all the, and we could still find that Hunter Biden may have lied on a gun application in 2018, which listen, they're talking about tax crimes here. They're talking about tax crimes, but obviously Hunter Biden paid money back. I don't know. Did he call Optima Tax Relief or what? I have no idea. And why is it okay to be in arrears and you can call Optima Tax Relief or some other company like them to negotiate with the IRS the amount that you didn't pay, that you still owe, plus fines and late fees and all that. But if Hunter Biden did that, which he did because he made restitution to the IRS, somehow he needs to be locked up. Now, if he did lie on the gun application, I just want to let you know that is so rare to prosecute. Nobody ever gets prosecuted. In fact, everyone in MAGA thinks that you shouldn't even have to fill out an application to have a gun, right? I mean, cheating on your taxes, having a gun, it's like on your to-do list if you're a maggot. So now all of a sudden they want to lock him up for listen, if he's guilty, he will be charged. But I just want you to know that the prosecutor who makes the decision, not the FBI agents who did the investigation, they don't get to charge anybody. But the prosecutor, this Weiss guy, he's the U.S. Attorney in Delaware. He's a Trump-appointed U.S. Attorney. He will make the final decision, and his decision will likely be made on whether or not he thinks he can get a conviction, period. And that is the full extent of how the law works in this here country. So, but Hunter, do you understand how dumb you all sounded? Like assuming that Hunter Biden was somehow more important than violence against the Capitol, or that you couldn't do both things at once, or that you couldn't, put the Oath Keepers on trial for seditious conspiracy, which was just disgusting. That's also rare. I have to tell you that it's very rare to see somebody charged in this country with sedition, let alone seditious conspiracy, meaning more than one person. And these people, they led hundreds of people to the Capitol. They were, ferrying weapons into motels on the other side of the Potomac, waiting for the president to declare to use the Insurrection Act to deputize them to be our new law enforcement team. I mean, how sick is that? But we can do all those things at the same time. It's amazing.
And maybe now some of the far-right calls will go from, she ain't going to talk about Hunter's laptop, and we can go back to, there's an invasion at the border.
This has nothing to do with Hunter Biden's laptop. I mean, well, I shouldn't say it that way. I'll say it the way that I know it to be. We don't know if anything on Hunter Biden's laptop was helpful in this particular I lied on a gun application investigation. We don't know if anything on Hunter Biden's laptop helped any of the FBI agents to figure out that he may have not paid enough in taxes on the profits that he made in business. Which, like I said, is on the MAGA to-do list. Make $1 billion, pay zero in taxes. That is the Republican to-do list. That and get a gun. So we'll see. We'll see. But I want you to know that the prosecutor who makes the decision is not a Democrat. The prosecutor who makes the decision is not Merrick Garland. The prosecutor who makes the decision is David C. Weiss, and he is a Trump-appointed U.S. attorney who was left to do his job by our Department of Justice. Left to do his job. Elaine in Illinois.
Hi, Randy.
Hi, Elaine.
Gosh, I really love your show.
Well, thank you.
Every time I see it, I leave it more informed and definitely entertained.
Oh, yay.
Yeah, well, okay, I don't mean to take you off of topic, but let me say this. I got two comments. What business is it of pasty white men in Congress and on the Supreme Court to care about what's going on in my panties?
Right. No, it's nobody's business what goes on in your panties.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then if they were really serious about curbing abortion, they would stop. They would make Viagra illegal. Has anybody said that?
Yes, I've heard that.
Okay.
And it's very interesting that during the big debate about whether or not the ACA ought to cover contraception, the ACA decided that it would cover Viagra. So yeah, it's fascinating. I mean, we're all paying the price for limp ones. We're all paying the price for the underperformers. They are hateful. They really are. The underperformers, the women hating, club of men who just feel like they need to control what goes on in Elaine's panties as much as, just control what goes on in your little panties. Control what goes on in your Calvin Kleins or your, Bombas. They make underwear. Tommy Johns, right.
It's Randy at RandyRhodes.com.
Go for launch.
Speaking truth to power, The Randy Rhodes Show.
This is what they're going to give you more of if you elect them. Abortion, pot, porn, and more January 6th hearings.
Everybody's going to be forced to have an abortion. Everybody's going to be spoon-fed marijuana. Everybody's going to be forced to have their eyeballs held open with tape and toothpicks to watch porn. And January 6th or some such crap, which we shouldn't prosecute. Violence against our capital. That's, it's MAGA. What are you going to do? It's white violence, and we're good with it. I mean, what is wrong with her? What is wrong with that whole channel? That is so... Don't criticize how other people have a good time. I personally enjoy the January 6th hearings. The next one's going to be October 18th. I'm very excited about that. Tonight, for those of you who are real geeks, I know it's Friday, right? It's Friday night, for God's sake. You know what I'm doing for entertainment? Do you have any idea? Netflix? No. Hulu? No. Amazon Prime? No. Tonight it's going to be a C-SPAN. It's a C-SPAN moment in my house. Mandela Barnes, what? Yes. Mandela Barnes is debating idiot Ron Johnson for Wisconsin's Senate debate. Now, we saw this week, the debates are going on. I don't know how many people are paying attention. Rand Paul decided not to show up against Charles Booker. He just decided, my voters are suckers. They will vote for me no matter what, or no matter how I disrespect them, or no matter how I treat them. If I'm a no-show, if I don't show up for work, if I don't show up for a debate, if I don't show up to share my ideas, oh, well, nobody's going to punish me for that. There's no penalty in Kentucky for being a disrespectful slug, for being a no-show. There's no penalty. So I'm not going to respect the voters of Kentucky. I'm just not showing up. Okay, and then tonight, Mandela Barnes is going to show up to debate Ron Johnson, who's a psycho. And that should be like so unbelievably good, because Mandela Barnes is extremely, extremely capable. He's a lieutenant governor, for God's sake. And Ron Johnson is Ron Johnson. I bet you anything he's still going to deny that the insurrection, that the violence at the Capitol was really violence. This should be really great. And then last night, Mark Kelly in Arizona, he debated idiot boy Blake Masters, and it did not go well for Blake.
I think we all know guys like this. Guys that think they know better than everyone about everything. Huh. You think you know better than women and doctors about abortion. You even think you know better than seniors about Social Security, and you think you know better than veterans about how to win a war. Folks, we all know guys like this, and we can't be letting them make decisions about us because it's just dangerous.
And it's stupid. It's stupid. It's like, let's pick the bully. Let's pick the bully. And then when the bully bullies us, we'll say, stop being a bully. What? Really? This is your strategy for being bullied into submission? This is your strategy? You got these people that are election deniers that don't believe in a free and fair election. You got these people that think that they know what they're supposed to. They understand that Elaine's panties and what she does in her panties needs to be regulated by Blake Masters, by a pasty white dude. Right? That's how she put it. That's how I put it. It's ridiculous. They know better about freedom than you do. They know what to make illegal. The more things that you make illegal, the more law and order we'll have. Really? You keep criminalizing women. You keep criminalizing marijuana. You keep criminalizing alcohol. You keep criminalizing everything. And what you're going to end up with is a bunch of crime. It just makes no sense what they're doing. It makes no sense. But tonight should be really good. Tonight, just so you know who Mandela Barnes is, this is him.
The reality is Ron Johnson sponsored 8 different national abortion bans. He supported abortion bans that did not have an exception for rape, incest, or the life of the mother. His position is too extreme and out of touch for the people of Wisconsin, especially the 70% that agree that Roe versus Wade should be the law of the land. When it comes to inflation, we have to be able to create jobs right here in America. Ron Johnson has praised offshoring. He's praised sending our jobs overseas. He said that it makes sense. We had an opportunity to create 1,000 good-paying jobs right here in Wisconsin. And when those jobs were threatened to be sent out of state, his response was that we have enough jobs. Ron Johnson is too out of touch because he doesn't understand people's economic reality. We need leaders who actually get what we're going through. We need more working class candidates in the United States Senate to help improve the quality of life for everybody. Somebody who's going to fight for working families, somebody who's going to fight for our family farmers, somebody who's going to fight for the right to choose, make your own health care decisions, and also affordable child care.
So Mandela Barnes is trying to take the high road here. He is a lieutenant governor of Wisconsin currently, and he's trying to take the high road by not saying, we need somebody who can think clearly. We need somebody who doesn't lie. We need somebody who's honest with the people of Wisconsin. Ron Johnson isn't any of those things, okay? Ron Johnson is an opportunist. Ron Johnson will say whatever Ron Johnson thinks will help Ron Johnson. Just like Herschel Walker will say anything at all if he thinks it helps Herschel Walker. He will lie. He will lie to your face. Rand Paul will not show up. If he thinks that it might hurt him to debate his opponent, Charles Booker, then Rand Paul's a no-show. Marco Rubio, he doesn't show up to vote for disaster relief when a freaking hurricane destroys his own constituents. This man is a no-show. He doesn't even show up. I'm sorry, but, somebody's got to say what candidates won't say about these lying sacks of crap, these lazy legislators who don't give a damn about their constituents because they take you for granted. They just think you're going to vote for them. That's what I'm saying about Senator John Kennedy over there in Louisiana. He thinks he can say whatever the hell he wants, lie to whoever he wants, not show up for debates, just ignore his opponent. He thinks that he can mandate that he knows best what your family should do in the case of rape or incest or unwanted pregnancy, or what your teenage daughter ought to do, in any of those cases. They know everything. They know better. They know all of it. They know everything. Everything. And the truth is, they know one thing. What actually gets them reelected. That's it. That's all they know. That's all they care about. Everything else is done in the back room. Everything else is done in the smoke-filled room. Everything else is done with lobbyists at the table. And trust me, you're on the menu. And they just then stand in public and lie. Or they don't even bother to show up. This is sad. It's sad that people actually accept that is the best we can do. This is not the best we can do. We are not doing the best that we can. We are not governing well. We are not making good decisions about who should be entrusted with your power, which is what you're giving. It's like sex. It is. When you have sex with somebody, you are exchanging your power with them, and you best believe that you need to choose wisely who you give your power to. Same thing with voting. Same thing. It's intimate. It's going to affect your life. It's going to affect everything you do. Everything you do. And everything you can't do. What is legal, what is illegal, what is right, what is wrong. Politics is the same as sex. There. Now choose. Now choose.
Call in, connect. To speak to Randy, call 561-270-3844. 561-270-3844.
Okay, this is Jeff Duncan. He's the lieutenant governor of Georgia, okay?
This has not as much to do about Herschel Walker as it does the process we went through here in Georgia to actually elect him. We didn't ask who was the best leader. We didn't ask who had the best resume. Unfortunately, Republicans looked around to see who Donald Trump supported, and he was a famous football player, and so he became our nominee, and now we're paying the price for that.
and that's why you think, that's why Herschel Walker's in this race.
Yes, that's why Herschel Walker's in this race, because he's a friend of Donald Trump. He played for the New Jersey Generals when Donald Trump was trying to, make himself a football, owner. And so he picked Herschel Walker, and that was that. So now Herschel Walker is confronted with what Lieutenant Governor of Georgia, Jeff Duncan, said about him.
Herschel, the Lieutenant Governor, Jeff Duncan, went on TV, I think last night, and had some very critical words of you, saying that the Republican Party was in disarray.
Yes.
I think his direct quote, paraphrasing it, was the only reason he's a Republican nominee is because he scored a lot of touchdowns for the University of Georgia.
Now, who was it you said did that?
Jeff Duncan.
Oh, what is he doing now?
What is he doing now?
Yeah, but I don't know. What is he doing now? He does work for who? Don't he go on some TV show all the time? No. Don't he go on the TV and talk a lot?
He's still the
No, don't he go on TV and talk a lot? Right now, people like that. Do I listen to? People told me I couldn't play football. So do you want me to listen to someone like that? I'm here to win the seat for the Georgia people because the Georgia people need a winner.
What the hell was he saying? What kind of word salad was that? I don't know. He did not know that the lieutenant governor of the state that he is running in to be their senator, that the lieutenant governor of his state is Jeff Duncan. He didn't know. Who is he? What does he do now? Who does he work for? He's the lieutenant governor. What? Doesn't he go on TV? Oh my God. See what I'm saying? This is the disrespect that the Republican Party treats Republican voters with. This is the absolute abject, they despise you. They literally despise you enough to lie to your face, to run candidates like Herschel Walker, to run candidates like John Kennedy in Louisiana, to run candidates like Senator Ron Johnson or Marco Rubio, who are just too damn lazy to show up and vote for disaster relief when the state is hit with a major hurricane. Hundreds of dead people. Houses completely demolished. Less than 20% of the people who were damaged by Ian have flood insurance. And he's a no-show. He just doesn't show up. I mean, it's unbelievable. Rand Paul doesn't bother to show up. The idea that Republicans don't understand that their politicians are politicians and that their politicians are disrespectful on top of being politicians and not leaders, not statesmen. They're politicians with the absolute lowest version of that word. That is who you keep on choosing. That is who you vote for. And they know it. They know it. They think that, you're tribal. You're a member of a tribe and you vote for somebody that tells you they're also a member of your tribe, even though they don't show up for the tribal meetings, even though they don't show up when the tribe is blown off the face of the earth, or when the tribe is harmed, or when the tribe is attacked, or when the tribe needs help. They just don't show up. What kind of a tribe are you running over there? Makes no sense. Brother David.
Well, apparently the kind of tribe that's not going to be around very much longer.
I hope not, man. They are so front-running phony. They're just so disingenuous.
It's amazing, sister. Mr. Kelly cleaned his opponent's clock last night. I am looking forward to Mr. Barnes doing the same tonight.
I just can't wait to see how Ron Johnson comports himself, in the face of, being for a total and complete ban on all abortions in his state, rape, incest, no exception, blah, blah, blah.
Right.
A guy who does not vote, for anything that would help Wisconsin. A guy who's actually for offshoring. A guy who tells Wisconsinites, well, we don't need to build anything in Wisconsin because we already have too many jobs. Yeah.
If it wasn't really happening, I would say it was being made up. Hi, chat room. Couldn't come in today. You know what to do because I had to work. But I'll have popcorn tonight. I cannot wait. And then, of course, the best television show of 2022 is coming back for its hurricane-delayed second season in roughly a week. And the January 6th committee hearing should also be very interesting, I think.
Yeah. I can't wait.
Me neither. There it is. There's a Blue Nami coming.
Thank you. Have a good weekend.
You as well. Love you always. Yes, ma'am?
Thank you. Just tell the chat room that the reason why I don't go in there is because I'm working too.
Gorgeous girdles for everyone.
Thank you. Seth in L.A.
Hey there, Randy.
Hi.
First of all, you bring light where there once was darkness.
Oh.
Your comment about politics being like sex, I'm so addicted to politics, now I know I am horned up all the time.
There you go.
Thank you for opening me there.
Again, sometimes you want, your head slammed against the headboard. Those would be, right? And other times you just want to be appreciated and loved.
Exactly. You want both.
Right.
Embrace the and.
Right.
So what I wanted to comment on those people who called last week accusing you of singing to the choir, I want to point out a few things and make a challenge to them. Number one, every time those sound drops on your shows played, oh, for God's sake. And I watched it on TV.
Yeah.
Those were two very right-wing MAGA callers that you play every day. So obviously...
Oh, for God's sake.
Yeah, that's right.
I remember those calls.
I do, too.
So obviously, they are listening, and some of them are even calling him.
I got a lot of email about this, preaching to the choir comment that came from two separate callers this week. And one person had the best point. He said, you have to preach to the choir or else they think they're all soloists.
That's true. That's true.
So.
And here's my challenge. Like, I have this Facebook friend. It's crazy that I have this woman I never met, an older white woman in rural Ohio. Every day, I will, video on my phone part of your show. Like sometimes it's 4 minutes, sometimes it's longer. And I will send that to her in a messenger. and say, let's talk about this. and a lot of times she just has her beliefs and no facts.
Yeah.
And I have moved the needle with her. Now, how it moves back, but I actually think she's going to vote for Tim Ryan now.
Oh, that's wonderful. Good for
you. And she
you.
voted for Trump twice. So all of those people who are saying, well, you're just preaching to the choir, then I challenge you. What are you doing to get out beyond the choir?
Beautiful. Thank you.
Yeah.
Well
so
done.
Thank you, Randy. And you can take a nothing day and make it seem worthwhile every day.
It's me, girl, and you should know it.
I do know it. Thank you, Randy. Have a good weekend.
You too. Oh, with each glance and every little movement, you show it. Love is all around everybody. Thank you for that. Yes, there was a lot of feedback on the commentary about the choir thing. Listen, don't worry about it. I know what's going on out there, okay? We are sitting here fielding phone calls from people who just cannot keep their crap together long enough to get on the air, okay? We know.
Randy Rhodes Show. To speak with Randy, dial 561-270-3844. That's 561-270-3844.
For almost 40 years now, I've been voting Republican. I don't know that I have ever voted for a Democrat. But if I lived in Arizona now, I absolutely would.
Oh.
And for governor and for Secretary of State. And I think, we cannot be in a position where we elect people who will not fundamentally uphold the sanctity of elections. And I think that's got to be, more important than anything else.
That is amazing. I mean, that is a dyed-in-the-wool conservative woman, Liz Cheney, the daughter of Dick. And she's actually telling people in Arizona, you cannot possibly be a Republican and vote for somebody who's going to tell you that your vote it's not possible to count it, or it's not possible to cast it. We don't believe in democracy anymore. I mean, these freedom-loving freaks of nature, this GOP of ours, I mean, they don't believe in freedom at all. Not at all. No voting, no counting, no privacy, no marijuana. No nothing. I don't know what they're for at this point. I really don't know what they're for. I honestly don't think that they think democracy is going to work out for them. I honestly believe that they know that they are fewer and fewer and further and further in between, and that the only way to win elections is to take them, to steal them, to cheat, to lie, to gerrymander. And, all they care about is winning. They don't care about right and wrong. They don't have any bright lines they won't cross. There's nothing they won't say. There's no enemy of ours that they can't cozy up to if they think it's, something that's popular right now. I mean, they are such a strange and despicable group, all because they're scared. They're literally cowards. It's why they bully children now. This is their new thing. The new target of their ire are children. The new target of their ire are school marms. Yeah, school teachers, school board members. This is who they pillory. This is who they're all manly. I'm going to take them on. I'm going to take on the school teacher. I'm going to take on the election workers, who are typically senior citizens. This is the big tough guys are going to fight to the death. School marms, poll workers, kids. And women. Steve in Arkansas.
Hi, Randy.
Hi, Steve.
Let me just say, my wife and I look forward to listening to you every day.
Oh, that's
and,
wonderful.
We enjoy the show and love it.
Well,
I just wanted to talk about the marijuana issue. You're jumping around so much today. I don't know what to talk about. The only thing I know about Hunter's laptop is it was found in a river by a blind guy. And as far as abortion goes, as a man, it's my opinion, it's an invasion of privacy and a personal attack on freedoms. And like George Carlin said, a right is not a right if it can be taken away.
Right.
And that's exactly what's happening. But
listen,
I wanted
the whole message from that party is we need to control the people. Period.
Well, I think they need to be educated. I believe. Well, I'm not even going to get into the stupidity of the Republican policies.
No, I'm saying that the entire purpose of everything they do and say is because they want to control the population.
Oh, power.
Yeah.
Power and money.
That's
what
it.
it's about.
That's it.
But I wanted to talk to you just a minute, and I'll try to make it quick, about the marijuana deal.
Okay.
My wife and I, we actually lived in Florida for about 10 years. And we have 2 grown children, grown adults with autism. We have taken our kids to every psychiatrist, psychologist, behavioral therapist, and specialist, that you could believe. And we've had them on all kinds of different medications. And nothing worked. One of our children, self-mutilates, and the other has violent fits of rage. So we decided that we would try cannabis therapy. And by God, it worked.
No way.
Yes, absolutely.
Wow.
It calms him down. Our eldest son used to bite his fingers and pull the skin from his heels until they were bloody and he couldn't walk because pain doesn't register the same. But anyway.
Oh, poor little guy.
So last year on September 1st, 2021, the local county sheriff's deputy, in conjunction with the National Guard of the state of Arkansas and the Army Reserve and the DEA, they raided our home for 9 plants. They hovered over my house like I was Pablo Escobar for half an hour.
Get out.
Terrorized my children, traumatized my dogs, and came and pulled all my medicine up. Now, the problem with that is marijuana is legal on a medical level here in Arkansas, but there's only 8 cultivating licenses, and they all, and the kids don't qualify. Autism is not a qualification. Now, my wife has rheumatoid arthritis. I have chronic back pain, and we all use it as medicine.
Right.
But they didn't put that in their bill. And all their crony friends, multimillionaires, and you can look this guy up, Warren Stevens in Little Rock. He is a multi-billionaire hedge fund investment banker. Now, he has all those licenses, and they've only got 32 or 36 dispensaries in the state. But if I grow medicine in my backyard, which was actually behind 2 locked gates, not for sale, I've never sold marijuana in my life.
Right,
ever.
me neither. Yeah.
I've never given it away.
Right.
We use it for medicine, and that's it.
Yeah.
I'm a criminal.
Yeah. So am I.
And I don't think that's right. I think it's unconstitutional myself. I should have the right to produce any product that any other billionaire investment banker does for profit. When we were left out of the bill, and there's a new bill coming up, which actually the bill they had written was that individuals could grow their own, which, I prefer to do because they douse theirs with phosphates and nitrates and fertilizers and all this crap.
Yeah.
But the Board of Electors rejected that. They don't want anyone to grow. Now, they have profited over $300 and some odd million in the past year.
That's what I was saying.
And it all goes to the top.
Yes.
All of it.
Right.
And we can't even grow a plant.
Right.
Now, these are white-collar criminals, as far as I'm concerned.
So we have the exact same scenario here in Florida, as you know, okay? Same thing.
I do.
Yeah. And so I'm a criminal, too, because I had 4 plants this year. I have 3 left, okay, because one was autoflower. But I'm only growing it for, for medicinal purposes, too. I don't even take it, okay? I'm not a fan.
Well,
I don't
be
love
careful.
it. Yes, that's the thing, and I would love to show people how I grow it. I'd love to show them how, you do it organically, and I would love to show them, how I don't have any, artificial anything. I feed it bottled water, but I can't share it. I can't share it with anybody because I'm a criminal. I'm a criminal.
Right. Did you know the laws in Florida are worse than federal set laws?
Yes.
For marijuana, so please be careful.
I will, and you too.
And if you need any tips or whatever, give me a call. I'm glad to help you out.
Thank you. I appreciate it very much because, you do have questions as you go. This is only my second crop, so.
Sure. But, I just, the upper level, they are so corrupt. It's all about the money. They only want the profit. And really, the only people that can afford this as medication are people that have, an extra $400 or $500 a month.
Yes, that's what I'm telling you.
It costs about $500 to get, a green card.
Yeah.
And then they want, at least $400 an ounce.
Yes.
So there's 4 in our family. You're talking about $1,600 worth of weed a month.
Yes.
But I'm not allowed to grow my own.
Exactly. That needs
to stop.
It
needs
does.
to stop.
I couldn't agree
You know,
more.
these
You
people
know,
just throw money at this and corporatize it, industrialize it, monetize it, and then monopolize it.
yes,
You know.
yes,
But
you
be
figured it
careful.
out.
Yeah, and you know, like I said, don't put anything out where it can be seen from the air. You're better indoors down there.
I'm almost
And,
done. It's harvest
I can
time.
help you out if you need it.
Well, thank you, Stephen. You
Yeah.
know, listen, all the best to your family. I think you're an awesome guy for trying to figure this all out on your own, doing the right thing when no one's looking, and then suffering through ridiculous greed and avarice. I mean, really, it's evil what they've done to your family.
Well, when your kid's hitting himself in the head,
Yeah.
and you want him to stop, you'll do anything.
I hear you.
You know, anything.
God love you. Thank you for calling me and sharing this with
All
me.
right.
All the best to you.
All right.
Okay.
Have a good one.
You too.
Bye.
Bye. Oh, he gave me chills. These are the kinds of problems that ordinary Americans are trying to solve on their own. You talk about pull yourself up from your bootstraps. You talk about figuring out your own fortunes. You talk about, paving your own way, making your own way, figuring. He did all that. He did all that. And for his effort, he's raided and criminalized. And yet what he did was efficacious. It worked. Worked for his kids. God love him. Well, listen, everybody, have a good weekend, and let's hope that I don't get arrested for sharing with you that I have 3 plants. But it's harvest time. I'm going to go pull them. I'm going to go trim them. I'm going to go dry them and cure them.